Dr. Fakumoju, thank you again for joining us. Let's get your reaction to the breaking news about the release of the school children and their teachers in Oyo State. You are in the Southwest. What's the mood like?
Let me just correct this. My name is Colonel Leo Abara.
Leo Abara, yes. Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The guest in the studio has said it's good news. I have to be happy with the family for getting back their people. But it's a slap on the Nigerian state that their citizens were kidnapped inside the Nigerian state for 50 days. Nothing happened.
Colonel, can you switch on your video? We aren't seeing you. We need you to start your video so that we can see you.
Can you see me now? Can you see me?
Not yet, not yet. We saw you initially. Maybe there was a little... But just continue, We'll see how we'll fix that.
Because I can see myself on the screen anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm really disappointed in the Nigerian state. Your citizens were kidnapped, 50 days, and it took you this time to rescue your citizens. It's a very big slap. Like the person in the studio now said, we don't know the conditions upon where they were released. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so we don't know the conditions they were released. And I'm guessing, I stand to be corrected, that the violence entrepreneurs have made it again. We didn't see any person captured. We didn't see any kidnapper captured or dead or whatever. So that means there was no confrontation. It means that there have been maybe ransom was paid. So it means that the insecurity in Nigeria is a lucrative ecosystem for both the kidnappers, the government, and the security agencies. Now, as long as what we call rebellion-specific capital exists in Nigeria, violent entrepreneurs will continue to make money out of this insecurity ecosystem, which is very shameful. Now, what are these rebellion capitals, specific capitals? They include availability of arms and armor, availability of fighters, the complacency of the government, the availability of ungoverned spaces, and then availability of natural resources to be exploited. Once these 5 things are existing, they will keep kidnapping Nigerian citizens and will keep paying ransom. Unless the Nigerian state rises up with its own coercive power to stop this thing, the embarrassment will continue. I'm really, really disturbed that entrepreneurs of violence are making it big in this insecurity ecosystem in Nigeria.
I agree with you totally that it has become a big business, just like we had Boko Haram, and all of that. It's a huge business. It has become a huge enterprise. Before now, there were attacks. People, will attack places. People will be killed and all of that. But we are seeing more of kidnapping, adoptions now, negotiation, ransom, and the rest. So we'll get into the details of some of these things and what needs to be done. Good enough, you've been on the field, you've been in the trenches, and you know how some of these things work. So you lead us into some of these discussions, some of these facts as we progress with the discussion. Dr. Shinkafi, at about the same time the Ibadan school children were kidnapped, we also had the adoption of school children also in Borno State. We're yet to hear anything in respect of their freedom.
Yeah, you see, the issue of kidnapping of Borno children and other children is not new in Nigerian state. Dapchi school children were kidnapped. Chibok were kidnapped, Kankara were kidnapped, and Zamfara, Kaya were kidnapped, Jangebe. So this one, they were writing NECO exam, June, July internal NECO exam. They were kidnapped in the school premises. But you see, the issue of Borno on the part of the government, there's serious failure on the part of the government. Because Chibok school children were writing exams when they were kidnapped. Even I think Chibok, yeah. When the former governor Shatima was a governor of the present vice president was a governor of the Borno state. So since they have that terrible experience for many years, government have to do everything humanly possible to deploy enough security in Borno State during this NECO exam or SSCE exam to make sure that there's adequate security coverage in those secondary schools when they are writing exams to abate the reoccurrence of that bad experience. So if you look at this as a serious failure on the part of the government in terms of providing security in these schools. Money were budgeted, even in the last budget, money were appropriated on this security coverage of schools. But yet, it has not changed the narratives.
You were involved in prosecution of bandits in Zamfara State. Can you share your experience with us?
Well, it's a very bad experience. It's a bad and ugly and good experience because there is a lot of, there is no commitment on the part of the state government at that time. There is no political will in terms of prosecution because that was a bill before the State House Assembly, which first and second, and even they have passed it into law. And the governor assigned it into law on the issue of death penalty for kidnappers and also life imprisonment and even 25 years sentence for those who are being indicted for related banditry cases. But the law was not gazetted. The former governor, who is now the Minister of State for Defense, refused to give the Attorney General of the state money to gazette the bill. So anybody who is any bandit or kidnapper or any related cases of that bandit-related cases, which was taken to police, then the police hands are tied. They say they doesn't have the present law at their hand, so they cannot use that new law to charge the kidnappers to court. They will use the final court to charge them to court. Yeah. So that was some of the difficulty we have, and there's a lot of political interference.
This issue of financing, did you come across it in the process of handling the assignment you did for Zamfara?
That is why I have told you it's a bad and ugly experience. Because since we have been appointed and inaugurated as a members of that committee, even the allowances of the members of the committee was only paid once. So there is no political will, no commitment on the part of the government to even allow us to do the work. There's a lot of, it has a lot of...
So from your experience now, because this prosecution we're talking about, this rescue we're talking about and all of that are just, there are, reactions to what has happened. A lot of persons talk about the root causes of terrorism, banditry, and all of that. Do you see any of these authorities moving towards addressing the root causes of what we have? Some say in Zamfara, for instance, illegal mining, the Almajiri children, poverty, unemployment, name them.
Yeah, you see, there is a series of root causes of this banditry, terrorism in Nigeria. The root cause, there is weak infrastructure, unemployment, poverty, vulnerability of the land border, because Zamfara share border with
Niger
Republic from Shinkafi, where I come from, and from Zulumi local government. And we share border with Isa, Sabon Birni, Goronyo, all those local government from Sokoto share also border with Niger Republic. And we share border at the Katsina, Jibia side. It's also Katsina State share border with Niger Republic. So the vulnerability of the border, proliferation of small and light arms into the land border and trafficking, weak infrastructure, judicial corruption, that is the weak judicial system, is all part of it, and the illegal mining. But illegal mining is just partially part of it, because most of this terrain where these bandits are hiding out in their camps is inaccessible. So all those places, rocky places where you cannot go and meet the bandit or you fight the bandit unless you use Pata jet and drones. And if you look at it on the part of the state government also, the state government are not so punctual in terms of giving subventions, support to the security, those who are on the front line. So these are some of the challenges, and there is no, even in the issue of this education, the educational system has been neglected for donkey years. Most of these governors who have found themselves in the corridor of power, they were siphoning, diverting the publics from personal enrichment, and there have been abuse of office. So these are some of the challenges.
But it's the same governors that will be giving state police to. We'll get to some of those issues. But Dr. Adara, I guess you are still there with us.
Colonel Abara.
Oh, yes, Colonel Abari. So
please write it down.
Yes, I have. So let's get to these root causes, this issue of poverty, this education issue, and all of that. They are not just prevalent only in the north. I'm sure other parts of the country also have their own, or even where you come from also has its own part of share of poverty. It's not everybody in your village or community that is rich. But most probably we're not seeing the kind of insecurity that we're seeing in other parts of the country. So why are we having this more in other places than when everybody shares in this common denominator of poverty, unemployment, even education? Lack of a proper education. You said you are disappointed with the government, the authorities, most probably in handling some of these root causes of the insecurity we have at the moment.
Yeah, thank you very much. Insecurity is not a military issue. It's not a police issue. It is a governance issue. Failure of governance. We have a political system that produce politicians that do not build the state. For you to build the Nigerian state, you need statesmen, not politicians. Because politicians think within the electoral cycle, and that is their planning horizon. And why I said that insecurity is a governance issue is because in the quest for power, those who gave us democracy from the West made us believe that for you to access power, you must belong to a political party. And when you belong to a political party, you must fight for power. And the way Nigerians and Africans fight for power becomes very violent. So if you have a party A, party B, party C, party D, they will fight for this power. And when they get this power, those that are outside their cycle, especially their party members, their tribe, their religious people, their supporters, and all that. These are the people that help them to fight for power to get power. So the power they have gotten have given them access to national treasury and national resources. The distribution of the commonwealth would only circulate within this small group. And government instantly, by doing that, has created two spaces. The first space is the governed space. The other one is the ungoverned space. The ungoverned space is occupied by those who have lost election or those who are not within the parties and the small group that helped the people to get power. So how do government do it? If in the government spaces, government has abdicated its responsibilities, they have left, there's a vacuum there. So the distribution of amenities like education, road and all that will only occur in the governed spaces. So in the governed spaces, you have government social amenities, you have economic opportunities, you have security, you have justice. In the ungoverned spaces, you don't have government amenities, you don't have economic opportunities, you don't have security, you don't have justice. And in the absence of government, there rises up non-state individuals, non-state actors to take control of this space that government has abdicated. This is where government has created insecurity. And in this regard, therefore, these people that are living outside in the government spaces will now look for security from these ungoverned non-state actors. They will provide security, they will provide justice, they will provide economic activities, though the economic activities they provide are sometimes illegal, are mostly illegal. And then they will provide amenities for these people, maybe water and all that. So these people living in this enclave will wake up and see armed militias protecting them. At least they go to bed and people protect them. In that instance, they have transferred their loyalty from the Nigerian state to these people that they are seeing every day. You can see how government has created insecurity. Good. So if they now start doing their economic activities like illegal mining, smuggling of arms and ammunition, trafficking in human beings, oil bunkering, they make a lot of money. And sometimes, mistakenly, our government recognizes them by paying them ransom, by giving them influence. Suddenly, somebody who is not educated, who is not employed, finds himself becoming very influential. Government has recognized him because he is an entrepreneur of violence. And having recognized that, the only thing that has made him influential and wealthy is violence. It becomes difficult for you to stop it. You can see how government has created insecurity. I'm just agreeing with the man in the studio. So as long as these natural resources are available, earlier I told you about rebellion-specific capitals, which include arms and ammunition, which they have, fighters, which they have, natural resources, they now have it. There's gold in Zamfara. There are natural resources in the northeast. There is oil in the Niger Delta. Then the complacency of the government.
It's all right. When this is all come together, it becomes difficult for us to have peace in Nigeria. You can never collect those guns from those people because it is becoming very profitable for them. Thank you. So when we get back, we'll take a break now. When we get back, we'll look at how do we recover those ungoverned spaces that we're talking about. In Oyo State, for instance, those schools that were attacked and where these victims were picked up, almost all of them didn't have perimeter fence. We have Safe School Initiative. How have we gone, with that? A lot of issues on the table for us to take a look at. But let's take this break. When we get back, we shall also have Aminu Ayama, another security and risk analyst, joining us in the conversation. Stay with us.
Get ready for a bold new chapter in political discourse. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political Platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you have trusted on Raypower Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as Political Platform debuts on your screen, bringing deeper analysis, sharper debates, and the voices shaping our nation's future right into your screens. From policy and politics breakdowns to real-time discussions with key stakeholders, this is more than a program. It is where opinions are tested, truths are uncovered, and the people's voice is heard. Join seasoned hosts and expert guests as they tackle the issues that define our democracy. No filters, no distractions, just real talk. Political Platform, now on AIT, 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday. Stay informed, informed, stay engaged, be part of the conversation.
In governance, democracy, and development. On People, Politics, and Power, we feature people who shape the events and define the issues.
A lot of the agencies are still struggling with implementation of freedom of information.
The government should come. We need Nigeria to work.
We examine the interplay and interaction of politics with power and their impact on policies and the people.
It's about getting the system to deliver the kind of electoral outcome that people will be happy with.
People, Politics, and Power with Imoni Amarere.
Will low-performing agencies be held to account? Or will the numbers fade after the headlines?
At 1 p.m. every Monday and Friday on AIT.
Thanks for staying with us. We also now have joining us Aminu Ayama, a security and risk analyst. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been following the conversation and the discussion. So let's bring you in now. We're talking about ungoverned spaces. How do we recover this ungoverned space? Now, most Nigerians believe that if we have state police, that the ungoverned spaces will be recovered. Will that be enough?
I don't think so, because you see, in this country we have a perception of one pill cures all. People have brought in the issue of state police as a panacea to all the problems. But the issue of ungoverned spaces, if you compare the areas of Afghanistan, their frontier areas with Pakistan, then with these new republics from the former Soviet Union, they all have these similar problems that we're having. And it's not mostly a kinetic approach. What they did was to integrate the tribal communities there, form a militia. Because of the cost, you cannot keep a standing army, especially with the size of our borders in our frontier areas. So you have to integrate the local communities, form a militia, train them. The other option is has been on the cards since the early 90s. The issue of National Guard. During the General Babangida's era, that was a proposal. In fact, it was even established that I know a lot of senior officers that were released from the army. Yeah, but it later filtered when the late General Abacha came into power. But you can see, even at that, our police is undermanned, is understaffed. We have not even satisfied our requirements for the number of personnel that we need in the Nigerian police. Not talk of now creating a National Guard, that you need not less than 1 million personnel under arms, who should be strictly manning our borders, using modern technology and another approach. So I believe it's not. We have several options that we can sit down, analyze them, and come out with number one, cost effectiveness, ownership by these communities, and then thirdly, we really have to look at the issue of justice. Yeah, I overheard the good doctor talking about taking bandits to trial. I believe it should be in stages. In this country, apart from the international pressure, we should not think about giving justice to bandits. Now it should be the kinetic approach, crush all of them. Even though the government is a multitasking body, it can undertake several measures hand in hand. But we need to really decimate them first. Then the ones that are willing to come drop their arms. We now invite them, let them face justice. But the present crop of bandits that we have and terrorists, honestly, I don't think they even care whether you take them to the courts, and we're just overburdening our correctional service system with all these people that should be deleted. As far as I'm concerned.
It's just that the justice system requires that you must give them...
Yeah, especially pressure from the international community.
You mentioned cases of Afghanistan, and some of those places. And I think it's something that the Nigerian state most probably needs to look at. It appears in our fight against insecurity, terrorism, banditry, we've not gone back to look at what has been the experience of other countries.
Yeah, comparative analysis.
Comparative analysis. I remember, is it Spain or Italy?
Spain, Catalan.
Yes, where they were able to, about the only place in the world that has been able to overcome terrorism in its full sense. They got the people involved. If you look at the national policy on anti-terrorism in Nigeria, I've read it cover to cover. The only place, for instance, where the media and communication is involved, they only talked about the public broadcaster, I think either the radio or television, and all of that. And no other person is given a role to play, in that. And then you ask yourself, how do we mobilize the people? The security agents will say, okay, we need information, we need that, but how are these people being mobilized?
Okay, coming to the inauguration of the State Policing Committee
yes.
by the President, there's a perception now that committee is solely manned by technocrats and civil servants. You don't have the civil society is highly underrepresented.
Apart from
you don't have students. You don't have transporters who are a key party to this traffic. You don't have traditional institutions. You don't have our religious bodies. You don't have so many groups from the civil society have been excluded. And even at that, the 13-member panel, can you believe that there's not a single member from the Northwest or the Northeast in the composition?
Yes. I observed that. I raised the issue. 13. I raised it, and there are so many people from the Southwest.
About
they can vote with one particular single language without
have a quorum. So the government has to be careful, because if they don't manage the perception of the consumers, the consumers are the people in the northern region. Right now, there's a perception out there that we are back to the days of when the North was garrisoned, during the early days of Boko Haram, or the hot days during the Jonathan era, where in every city there were gates and roadblocks and everything. The narrative, sadly, is being sold by, I won't call them ignorant, but they're highly uninformed. You find clerics in Hausa language now, go to WhatsApp, everybody is preaching what he wants, right? The government has not owned the narrative. Then you have opposition parties too, because of politics, selling that perception that we're back to Jonathan era. So as far as I'm concerned, the government has sold the narrative battle. They have all the big names in the media, manning all the seats in the presidency, but I am sorry to say, it's not working. Why? Because they are not inclusive. It's like a semi-cult. I'm sorry, because I know some of them, but the way they operate, no inclusion. How can you have a policing committee for states and not have a single member from each of those states?
Like
the land doctor who's from Zamfara. Include him from Zamfara. He knows the history of this banditry and terrorism.
He has worked with the state government. He knows
for over 10 years. And all these northern states, the 19 northern states and FCT, you can find one or two people like him. Why not incorporate them? Let them give you traditional rulers, right? And secondly, our people are still afraid of state police because of our experience with the native authority. Police, right? If you don't set up an internal affairs tailored to the US model, whereby they are independent of even the IG, put them under the office of the National Security Advisor and the NBA alone. This will be the two bodies. Any case of abuse of power or of office should be handled by that office. One, they're not under the governor. Two, they're not under the state police. Three, they're not even under the Police Service Commission. This is a body with people from Federal Ministry of Justice that can prosecute. Go to the state, pick that officer or whoever is concerned and prosecute him right there. Until we set up these policies, it will not be accepted.
Ayama, you would have joined us earlier. You would have joined us. But let's get to Colonel now. Colonel, again, most times when we bring you, we don't have enough time to listen to you. But can you, the ungoverned spaces you spoke about, in a sentence or two, how do we recover them?
Like I told you, it's difficult to recover it because of the rebellion-specific capitals that are available. You can't take it away from them. Somebody that is uneducated suddenly has influence in Katsina State, recognized by the governor, being given $1 billion to rescue children. How are you going to collect arms from him? He has become wealthy, very influential. The natural resources he steals from there, he makes a lot of money. And then the complacency of the government, even with the armed forces, the police, everything cannot crush them. That is very, very sad. Nigeria is in for a very long fight of insecurity.
But you
it's
agree,
very unfortunate.
You agree that the non-kinetic were not doing enough. We should focus on the non-kinetic to get the communities, get the people involved, you know, moving forward.
Yes, what the governors have now, the militias they have, or those people that win elections for them, of grab ballot boxes for them, the vigilantes they have can be retrained to become first responders. And that's what we did in Ekomog. We were able to, in Sierra Leone, we were able to get the Kamajors to militarize them. They become the first responders because they know the routes in and out of their communities. And immediately they make contacts, we come in and they clear the area. That was how we were able to free Sierra Leone. In Liberia, the Nigerian state is very powerful. And let me explain this to you. The Ulimoke was the creation of the Nigerian state. If the Nigerian state wants to do anything and they have the right leadership, they do it. The vigilantes around Nigeria today, if they are well trained and documented, they'll be able to secure their communities, become the first responders. This state police something is I think
I know your position.
You know my position in there. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work because state police is for fighting crimes, and these people are not criminals. They are armed combatants who are killing Nigerians and occupying our territories.
Nigerians will try it and learn from it. If it's a mistake, they will learn from it. Dr. Shinkafi,
with human life. Unfortunately.
State police, you worked with the state government. State police now, do you have any fears?
Well, the only fear I have is the political interference. Because if you review the pictures of how the National Assembly did the creation of the state police close by close, you will see that all the powers were vested to the state governors. The state governors are the ones to appoint.
With the recommendation from the police
State Police Service Commission.
And then the president can intervene when
they are the one to fund it. And the state will also create a state police service commission. Or they are directly not taking order from the inspector of police. So if you look at it, that may be a political, there should be a political interference. Even now the national police, some of the governors have pocketed the commissioners of police.
It's all right. It's work in progress. Ayama, you have so much to offer. But then, what do you think is the way, if you were to meet the president today, now, and to advise him, Mr. President, what should he do?
I would advise Mr. President to kindly hold on with this issue of our state police, the way it's been railroaded. Let them come back.
Too much.
Yes, let them come back and have public hearings and town hall meetings in all the 733 local governments.
74 local governments.
No, Bakassi is out. You people are always quoting 700 and...
but the constitution still recognizes Bakassi.
Yeah, but we don't have Bakassi. So, I mean, aside from that, they should take into cognizance, too, the perception. Perception, especially in our part of the country, is very, very strong in whatever you do. They should try as much as they can for the masses to see that the management of this police, they trust the federal level more than the state level. Put all these measures, like I've said, that creation of internal affairs unit to police the police is a very critical factor.
Indeed, the conversation will continue, and we'll continue to bring you gentlemen on the program. We'll find a lady too who will also give us the gender perspective to a number of these issues. Thank you very much, Colonel Leo Abara. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I'm sure you will oblige us a number of times. Yes, we also thank Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi, former chairman of Zamfara State Committee for Prosecution of Armed Banditry-Related Offenses. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we have Aminu Ayama. I was asking him whether I should call him Alhaji. He said he don't. Thank you so much for your very sound input into the discussion. Insecurity is a major challenge for Nigeria. Everybody must be heard. Everybody must be a part of the debate, must be a part of the conversation moving forward. And like we always say, democracy must and should work for Nigerians. Be a good citizen, stay out of trouble. I am TV Tiav.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, AIT_live, and AIT Livestream 1 on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live. The issues as they break. The multitude, the political figures, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting.
The scheming.
This is not a period we should sit back and go.
Every part of this country is equal.
The intrigues.
There can be no one person that is bigger than the party.
Deft moves and the momentous declaration.
We didn't get any protection.
I'm not particularly against anybody.
We track and capture them all.
I don't believe it was for that reason politics.
Follow in-depth analysis and no-holds-barred interviews.
Armed forces of the country is well capable. They need the political will.
Are they just waking up from sleep? Is there complacency?
Feel the pulse of happenings in the political arena on AIT Democracy Today. Widely acclaimed authority on politics. Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time.
It's been 3 years since President Bola Tinubu was sworn in as a Nigerian leader. He promised to fix the economy, address rising insecurity, create jobs, and fight for the interests of citizens both home and abroad. As President Tinubu seeks re-election in 2027, has he delivered on his promises? And does his performance so far merit a second term? AIT News begins a special May 29 review countdown series, where we interrogate the Tinubu administration's deliverables across various sectors of national life. Join us on the AIT News Hour from May 18, 2026.
Electricity drives economies. Without it, factories shut down and jobs disappear. Yet, for decades, Nigeria's power sector has been trapped in a cycle of low generation, fragile transmission, and broken distribution networks. When President Tinubu took power in May 2023, the nation of over 200 million people survived on a meager 4,000 to 4,500 megawatts. Experts blame the lack of money, heavy debt, and obsolete equipment. But President Bola Tinubu sounded ultra-confident.
Whichever way, by all means necessary, you must have electricity. And you will not pay.
Tinubu even went further to pledge to Nigerians that if he does not fix the electricity problem, he should not be voted if he seeks re-election.
A promise made will be a promise kept. If I can't keep the promise and I come back for second term, don't vote for me.
The administration quickly signed the Electricity Act into law. This historic move broke the federal monopoly, allowing states to generate and distribute their own power. Billions were funneled into metering, new substations, and private partnerships. In May 2023, when the president took over, power generation was between 4,000 to 4,005 megawatt average and 5,800 megawatt peak. Comparatively, by May 2026, it is at 5,000 plus megawatt average and 6,000 plus megawatt peak. But statistics do not light up homes. Despite a marginal increase in generation, the national grid remains notoriously fragile. It collapses repeatedly, plunging the entire country into darkness at the slightest strain.
You have 2 hours in a day, sometimes an hour a day.
If you don't get money, no way to buy fuel. You will stay. If you come to work, you will stay idle. In a difficult time.
The data in 2023 shows multiple grid collapses. In 2024, multiple outages and transmission failures. In 2025 and 2026, more grid collapses totaling about 15 since the president took over. Engineers say the grid cannot handle the power currently being generated. Transmission lines are weak, old, and prone to breaking. Then came the financial shock of 2024. The government slashed subsidies and introduced a tiered tariff system.
We may not be paying the reflective tariff on electricity. Cost reflective tariff on electricity. But the leakages have identified as far as technical losses. When you generate electricity, the losses that is being incurred before it even gets to the distribution level is huge. And the incentive for these technical losses is because there are no check and balances for efficiency.
Band A, 20 hours minimum daily supply will pay the highest tariff. Band B's, 16 hours minimum daily supply. Band C, 12 hours minimum daily supply. Band D, 8 hours minimum daily supply. And Band E, 4 hours daily. High tariffs, estimated bills, low supply.
We enter Band A, they give us the assurance that there will be stable lights. There will be nothing like a power outage or this and that. Whenever we have any power failure, we should call them on phone. But these days, it's not like that.
Since 1999, trillions have been invested. This Halo House, this chamber, we're going to come to you with difficult decisions. Your constituents will run to you. Please tell them to bear with us. There may be small pain, but we'll get there. Because we are going to have a disciplined approach to addressing this. I'll come and present to you what our plan is. We clear milestones If you don't see this in 3 months, it means you won't see 6 months. So you must see the 3 months and you must hold us accountable for it.
Government defenders plead for patience. They argue that fixing decades of rot takes time and state-led power markets will eventually pay off. But for millions of citizens, patience is running thin. 3 years into the administration, power supply remains the ultimate test of government performance. Yemi Adebayo, AIT News, Abuja.
It's been 3 years since President Bola Tinubu was sworn in as a Nigerian leader. He promised to fix the economy, address rising insecurity, create jobs, and fight for the interests of citizens both home and abroad. As President Tinubu seeks re-election in 2027, has he delivered on his promises? And does his performance so far merit a second term? AIT News begins a special May 29 review countdown series.
The number of children dying before their 5th birthday has hit a record low, according to new United Nations estimates. And Malawi is among countries highlighted in a UN report released on Wednesday for making significant reductions in child deaths. It, alongside Cambodia, Rwanda and Mongolia, have all been credited with a more than 75% drop in under-5 mortality since 2000. In the Malawian town of Nemetete earlier this year, parents like Secret Gibson were queuing up to get their children vaccinated against malaria, under a new program being rolled out in countries across the continent.
When a child receives the vaccine like this, it means as he grows, he will be a healthy and strong person. But also, as he attains maturity, it's like you have already laid a good foundation for him. Because if you don't take him for the vaccine, the clinic has reservations to treat a child who did not take the jab.
Preventable and treatable causes such as pneumonia, diarrhea and malaria made up the majority of the 4.9 million under-5 deaths in 2022. While that's a halving of the mortality rate since 2000, it also still represents 1 death every 6 seconds. And the UN warned that the world is behind in its goals for reducing preventable deaths by 2030, with progress slowing since 2015. Overall, deaths of babies and children under 5 in 2022 were concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa. It represented 57% of the global total, despite only accounting for around 30% of the live births that year. The UN said better access to primary healthcare and community health workers could vastly improve the outlook. But it also warned that climate change, increasing inequity, conflict, and the long-term fallout from the global health crisis could all threaten progress.
Thanks for joining us on AIT Reports. I am Sadiat Dusmo. Welcome. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the deadline for political parties to submit the list of candidates for the 2027 presidential and National Assembly elections. In a statement issued on Sunday by INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, the Commission says the new deadline is now midnight of Tuesday, July 14, 2026. The initial deadline in the reverse timetable and schedule for activities for the 2027 general election was Saturday, July 11, 2026. According to INEC, the extension followed an appeal by the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, on behalf of political parties that were unable to upload the names and personal particulars of their candidates within the scheduled timetable, where INEC explains further that the extension underscores its commitment to ensuring inclusivity in its practices while acting within the ambit of the law. It urges political parties to take advantage of the additional window to ensure that all required details are uploaded before the expiration of the new deadline. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu, has called on the National Assembly and all political parties to take deliberate steps to protect women in partisan politics and dismantle barriers limiting their participation. The minister made the call on Saturday in Abuja at the maiden National Women's Summit organized by the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, with the theme Inclusion in Politics and Governance, addressing barriers to women's participation and representation. Describing the summit as more than a political conversation, Odumegwu Ojukwu said it speaks to national development, equity, and justice. She noted that while women constitute nearly half of Nigeria's population, their representation in both the legislature and executive arms of government at all levels remains quite low. According to her, Nigeria's democratic journey cannot reach its full potential if over half of their population remains underrepresented in the institution where decisions are made. The minister attributed the gap to decades-long structural and systematic barriers, including high cost of political participation, cultural stereotypes, among others. She stressed that the consequences of this exclusion is not only unfair to women, but also costly to Nigeria's democracy. And to Akwa Ibom State, where Governor Umo Eno has sympathized with victims of the recent flash floods that affected parts of the state and called for collective action to prevent future occurrences. The governor gave the assurance at the Victor Atta International Airport, Uyo, after official engagement outside the state.
Heavy rainfall in the past few days triggered flash floods in parts of the Akwa Ibom State capital, leaving a trail of destruction and damaging homes, businesses, and other property. Governor Umo Eno described the situation as unfortunate and expressed sympathy with affected residents. He assured them that government has activated emergency measures to mitigate the impact of the flooding. The governor disclosed that construction firms and relevant government agencies have been directed to evacuate floodwater, the sealed blocked drainage channels, and restore access to affected communities.
First of all, let me sympathize with the families and homes of those that have been affected by this flash flood. We have a responsibility to clean up our surroundings, take away refuse from waterways, unblock all our drainages. We go out on weekends, clean our drainages. These are the things that we should do, and then government will come. Those that have to be distilled, they will draw the attention of government, then we'll come and do.
Governor Eno stressed that addressing flash floods requires collective effort by both government and citizens. He urged residents to refrain from dumping refuse into drainage channels, regularly clear gutters around their homes and business premises, and pay close attention to weather advisories, emphasizing that prevention remains the most effective response to flooding.
NIMET had warned The responsibility lies between government and the people.
The governor reaffirmed his administration's commitment to safeguarding lives and property through sustained investment in drainage infrastructure. Idonset Ikono, AIT News, Uyo.
Zamfara State Governor Daud Lawa has unveiled a multi-million-dollar lithium processing plant in Boko, Zumi local government area of the state. The governor said the project is aimed at enhancing Zamfara's vast, solid mineral resources and promoting industrial development.
Plant, in partnership with the private investors, mark a major milestone in the state mining sector.
Extraction.
It described the project as the beginning of a new era, focused on responsible mining, industrial growth, job creation, and sustainable development of the state-abundant mineral resources. Governor Daud Lawan says his administration has remained committed to transforming Zamfara's mining sector by moving from informal mining activities to an organized, value-driven industry capable of competing in the global economy.
As we mark the commencement of this project today, let us determine to build a Zamfara state where security enables investment. Investment creates jobs, jobs reduce poverty, and prosperity strengthens lasting peace and overall development. On behalf of the government and the good people of Zamfara state, I congratulate the stakeholders who made this event possible. It is now my honor and privilege to officially unveil the Zamfara lithium mining and processing plant.
Representatives of the investment partner says the project is a significant step towards establishing a world-class lithium processing value chain in West Africa. They added that the initiative will further strengthen industrial cooperation between Nigeria and China.
Today is a project that represents an investment of approximately $200 million, making it one of the largest and the most technological advanced mineral processing facilities on the African continent.
The Emir of Mauriki, Bashir Ismail Ari, whose emirate hosts the processing plant, welcomed the investment and expressed optimism that it will create employment opportunities and improve socio-economic well-being of the people in the community.
On behalf of entire people of Mauriki Emirate, I wish to assure our esteemed investors of our maximum cooperation and our commitment to provide a conducive and enabling environment.
When fully operational, the lithium processing plant is expected to process about 6,000 tons of raw minerals daily, equivalent to nearly 2 million tons annually. The project is expected to boost Zamfara State internally generated revenue, stimulate economic growth, and encourage local entrepreneurs. Damina Yusuf, AIT News, Gusau.
And so Niger State, where scores of terrorists over this weekend suffered heavy losses when Nigeria troops, backed by local vigilante hunters, repelled an attack on the Dam Auta community in Berry Ward, Ameriga local government area of the state. Confirming the incident in a statement, the information officer of Ameriga local government area, Mohammed Noura Salisu, said the joint operation was a success. Adding, according to him, the gunmen were forced to retreat into the forest as residents reported seeing the terrorists evacuating their bodies or their fallen members as they fled. Although the exact number of casualties could not be independently verified, security forces have continued clearance operations in the area. Authorities have advised residents to suspend farming activities in affected communities until the operation is fully concluded. Officials further urge the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious movements or activities to security agencies without delay. The primary health care system is critical to the achievement of universal health coverage, but despite its importance, the utilization has remained inconsistent in most states across the Federation. To change this narrative, especially in urban centers like Lagos State, for the overall benefit of maternal and child health, some critical stakeholders in the sector are advocating greater collaboration between governments and the media on availability and usage of data for reporting.
State has 319 registered primary healthcare centers distributed across the local government areas in the state. While government seems to be putting much effort in terms of funding as well as other commitments, into the system. They are grossly underutilized, as many residents still engage in self-medication and women patronizing more of traditional birth attendance. How to find a lasting solution to these and many more informed this workshop by the International Society of Media in Public Health in collaboration with Engender Health for journalists and other relevant stakeholders in Lagos.
People just For most of our history, humans lived in harmony with nature.
But we have shared in the balance, exploiting our planet for product and wealth.
Creating a climate catastrophe, driving species to extinction, and polluting our land, sea, and air. We must go from harming our planet to healing it. We must protect what we have.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, where the black gold continues to flow and fuel Africa's largest economy, where the line between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Oil, gas, politics, development, and community issues all are highly valuable commodities in the Niger Delta. How do they combine, and how can they work together to spawn a new era in the Niger Delta? As he probes deep to analyze issues in the region from angles never before explored. Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga.
Education is the bedrock of social advancement. The Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, DESOPADIC, has remained committed to the transformation of this key sector. Joy Ochei is my name. Thank you.
Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, AIT_live, and AIT Livestream 1 on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, online.
We apologize for that break in transmission. Now moving ahead, England and Argentina will renew one of football's greatest rivalries in the semi-finals of the 2026 FIFA World Cup after both sides survived dramatic quarter-final encounters that required extra time. Reigning world champions Argentina defeated Switzerland 3-1 after extra time to remain on course for a successful title defense.
This McAllister gave La Albia Celestial the lead before Dan Ndoye restored parity for Switzerland, sending the contest into extra time. The Swedes were dealt a major setback when Bril Embolo was sent off after receiving a second yellow card for simulation. With the numerical advantage, Argentina capitalized as Lautaro Martinez and Julian Alvarez struck in the second hour of extra time to seal victory and book a place in the last four. Earlier, England also needed extra time to overcome Norway 2-1. Jude Bellingham inspired a comeback, cancelling out Norway's opener just before halftime to send both sides into the break level. Norway thought they had regained the lead early in the second half, but the goal was ruled out following a VAR review. Bellingham then completed his brace in the third minute of extra time, sending the Three Lions into a mouth-watering semi-final showdown against Argentina. The second semi-final will see 2018 world champions France take on Spain in another heavyweight European clash, with the winners advancing to the FIFA World Cup final. With four football giants still in contention, the race for the biggest prize in world football promises even more drama and excitement.
South African football has been thrown into mourning following the death of Bafana Bafana and Mamelodi Sundowns midfielder Jaden Adams at the age of 25. Adams' passing was confirmed by South Africa's Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture and the South African Football Players Union, with tributes pouring in from across the football fraternity. No official cause of death has been disclosed, while authorities and the player's family have appealed for privacy during this difficult period. The gifted midfielder had only recently represented South Africa at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, where he featured prominently in Bafana Bafana historic campaign. Well, that's AIT Reports. I am Sadiet Dusumo. Thanks for staying with us.
James Akbarshe arrives for a checkup at the community medical center in Dadere, but it's not for his health. The student journalist is there to see how well the government-run center in Nigeria's central Nasarawa state is working. It's part of an initiative called Udeme, an Ibibio word for My Share. It sends student journalists, known as U-monitors, to investigate public projects and hold authorities accountable.
Sometimes you travel to those communities where those projects have been awarded, you discover that those residents don't want to talk to you because they have no idea of those projects. So you face challenges, maybe sometimes threats to your life. And when a lawmaker find out or individual find out you are doing a story that will implicate him.
The Media Non-Profit Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, or CJID, launched Udeme in 2018. It recruits about 100 students like Akbarshe each year. They track public infrastructure projects like the construction of schools and hospitals. And they talk to residents about what they find.
So our U-monitors are fluent in the local dialect in those places. So when they go on radio shows, they speak in those local dialects so that people can understand the relevance of the topic that we're talking about. And we see them calling in after the program.
Nigeria ranks 145th out of 180 countries on the Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index. The CJID says ignorance is often why public officials are not held accountable. At a visit to Nigeria's Independent Corrupt Practices Commission in February, authorities pledged their support.
The issue of corruption and corrupt practices is a problem. We will always continue to work with you.
CJID says its approach brings change and could be a model other media should follow. The initiative brings results. When Akbarshe first visited this health center, it was not operational. A few months after he reported on it, the government opened the hospital to the community, a small step to holding public officials accountable. Timothy Obiezu, VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
there is no greater job as being a mother than any other job on earth.
The woman is the mother of the murderer. The woman is also the mother of the peacemaker.
They must learn to say no to evil.
Be involved in raising your children.
I'm so concerned that a lot of the children, our children in Nigeria, do not have access to good quality education. Their parents simply cannot afford it.
Good parenting is vital to nation building.
A woman is able to program a child to be who he should be.
Actually have to make an effort at home. It all begins at home.
There's this popular saying, monkey see, monkey do.
Parents make one child seem more important than the other.
Just because your mother was a drug addict or trafficked or on the streets or whatever, that does not shape who you are.
I want you to always remember that you are stronger than you know.
It is important for a woman to critically look at your environment, at your situation, and see what you can do to add value to yourself and add value to your family.
Don't be a victim. Be the player that wins.
I came from a family of 10 kids, 10 children. We are 10 because I came out from a polygamous family. I grew up in Ibadan. I had all my education from primary education to tertiary education, all in Ibadan. I am married. I've been married for 10 years. I have 3 kids, a boy and 2 girls. I'm an entrepreneur. I can say I am a farmer because my business is selling of farm produce. And I'm into animal husbandry too. So I'm an entrepreneur. I grew up in a polygamous family, in a family of 10 children. My mom is late. She died when I was just about 11 years old. I was in secondary school then, like GS1 to be precise. So my primary education, my secondary education, my tertiary education, everything was in Ibadan. So growing up, like normal life, I grew up like a normal girl. Although I was trained by my stepmother. She's a very good woman. But, you know, at times when you know this particular person is not your mom, so there's that kind of difference between it. Growing up was fun because there are so many things about growing up to say which time would definitely not permit me. So as a young girl then, I have dreams, I have ambition. I pursued my career in mass communication at the Polytechnic Ibadan. I had my HND, but along the line I couldn't further my education, not due to a monetary aspect or anything, but just, you know, girl's life. I think about that time, that was when I met my husband and family life began. And ever since, it's all been good. My motherhood journey is a very interesting one. Being a mother is something that really gives me so much joy, because when I look at my children and I look at them and these are my really kids that actually came out from me, I always give glory to God for that. And being a mother, it's a kind of challenging job, that I say. It's a challenging job that you can't quit, you can't stop, it just has to go on like that. So motherhood is a very interesting aspect of my life, because as about the time when I was having my children, you know, one faced one difficulty and another. But all through it all, looking at the kids and seeing them healed and healthy today gives me so much joy. That made me forget most of the pains that I went through when I had them. Like when I had my first child, that's about 10 years ago. As in when I first knew I was pregnant and all that. You know all the stories that comes with giving birth, pregnancy, all scary stories you hear from people here and there. But with it all, one, I had no choice. I was pregnant, and I have to have the baby. So during my pregnancy period, it's a very challenging one because in my own case, you know, God made these things easy for some people than others. Like when I was pregnant, the vomiting, spitting here and there, I started my own from the first month till the 9th month. Like unlike some people, when they start the first trimester, it stops. They behave like normally, like as if even you know some people are women are even pregnant. But in my own case, I was lean, I was out of shape, my beauty faded, everything gone. I look so pale. In fact, if you see me, you think I'm sick or something. I mean, you think I'm a sickle cell somebody or something like that. So I went through this very painful part of pregnancy, even till the last month that I had my baby. And then when I was about to have my baby, I remembered very well then, when I fell into labor, the doctor was like, my pelvic is too small, as in to let the baby out and all that. So I labored for like 12 hours or more. Eventually, I went through cesarean section to have my baby, of which, you know, then before I gave birth, I was like, no, I reject it. I will give birth like the Hebrew woman and all that stuff. But unfortunately, I gave birth through cesarean section, which is normal to me, though it's kind of painful. But you know, when you see your baby, the joy, all that pain vanishes.
Exceptional mom, shape the future.
So when I had my second baby, even in fact that one was, it's a very interesting story, because then when I got pregnant, you know, my first child was a boy. I was like, God, I need a girl. I want my splitting image. I want my replica. So when I was pregnant, I got pregnant, the first scan I did, I was told it's a girl. That gives me so much joy. I was so happy that at last I'm going to have a girl. But along the line, as time goes on, as actually the scan keeps seeing a girl, so my tummy is getting big and bigger and bigger and bigger virtually every day. So even each time my husband looks at me, he will be like, are you sure it's only one baby that is in this tummy? So even till the 7th month, I remember very well, the 7th month when I went for the normal antenatal, my doctor was like, Madam, I don't think it is only one baby that is inside this tummy, because this tummy is rather too big for a baby. He was even particular about my baby being excessively overweight, that it's not good for labor and all that. So he now directed me to a particular hospital to do the scan then. So when I went there, immediately I got there, the doctor was like, has anybody told you you're carrying 2 girls? I was like, wow. At the 7th month, and you know, before then we would have made arrangement for the first for just one baby girl, buy baby things, baby clothes and all that. So me and my husband, we had to like start rushing to buy double and all that. And to the glory of God, when I went for the scan, that was the 7th month. That was about 2 weeks for me to enter the 8th month. It was that exactly 2 weeks that I went into labor. In fact, that morning, I just, like my normal routine, I would vomit in the morning, then brush my teeth before having breakfast. So as I finished all those, I was about eating when I just felt the water burst and all that. I was rushed to the hospital. But earlier before then, when I had the scan, I was told one of the babies was breached. So one was kind of blocking the other. So when I was taken to the hospital, you know, the doctors examined me, did another scan and all that. The baby was still breached. So they were like, there's no other option than to go for another cesarean section. So that really didn't scare me because I had it the first time. So it's no big deal. So that was how, in fact, my second delivery, I even thank God that one wasn't prolonged. Unlike the first one that was prolonged, thinking I would be able to bring forth the child myself, but eventually I couldn't. So the second one, it wasn't prolonged before they took me to the theater and the cesarean section was performed and they brought out my babies. So it was a thing of joy for me then, having two girls at the same time. Not just two girls, two beautiful girls at the same time. Yeah, there are lots of challenges that comes with motherhood. Being a mother, like Ahelia said, is not an easy job at all, especially when those kids are still toddlers. Like myself, when I had my first child, you know, that's sleepless nights. Those sleepless nights, those midnight cries of babies, it's kind of very, very tough for me, because then I'm somebody that has migraine just easily. Any slightest provocation like this or any kind of stress, no matter how, my migraine will just pop up. So then all those sleepless nights, taking care of baby in the middle of the night, and they are kind of funny. You know, that was my first time of being a mother. So it was very, very challenging for me to wake up in the middle of the night. You know, at times after feeding the baby, they will refuse to sleep. They will still not sleep. You'll have to rock them, carry them here and there. And in my own case, my husband wasn't helping at all because he's a heavy sleeper. So that one is a challenge on its own. And taking care of the baby, you know, the times the baby falls sick, especially their teething period and all that. At times they will be hot, they will develop fever, you won't even know what to do. You just be running helter-skelter. You know, all those kind of things, especially new mothers, those that has not been in the journey before, those that doesn't even have the experience before. It's kind of tough. And from the stage where they become toddlers, they start crawling, you know, and all that. And in my own case, when I had my twins, it was even tougher. You know, when I had just one baby then, I was thinking, oh, this is too much and all that. But when I had twins, that one was even another one on its own. It's a kind of very tough job. And my girls then, they were words and opposites. One will be like, there's nothing you will do for her that will make her stop crying, especially in the middle of the night. And one eats than the other, you know, that kind of thing. And then breastfeeding two babies at the same time, it's a very tasking job. And their toddler stage, taking the care of them and all that. Motherhood is good. It's a very interesting part of my life. Very interesting, very challenging. It takes time and it takes a lot of patience. You know, children, you have to be a very patient person, somebody to understand them, to understand what they want at a particular time, to take care of them and all that. And with God, one will be able to push through. I learned a lot from my mother. Even though I was still very young as at that time, I know my mother to be a very hardworking woman. I know her to be a very strong woman. I know her to be a good listener. I know her to be somebody that watches over her kids jealously, that she doesn't want anything at all to happen to us. And I think I took after her hard work because she struggles a lot. I know my mother then to be a woman that does so many businesses at a time. She can combine like 3 businesses, 4 or even more together at the time, as little as I was then. So I really took after her for that. Then I know her to be a very religious and godly person because she prays a lot. She prays a lot. My mother then, she's a CAC woman, you know, those women that doesn't wear jewelries. They just believe, in fact, she doesn't make her hair then, if I can remember very well. So she's the one that, she's a religious person and very, very prayerful. So as little as I was then, I took all those after her. My advice for stay-at-home moms who have dreams is that they should pursue their dreams. Having babies, being a mother, doesn't stop one from being what she wants to be in life. Yes, they should pursue their dreams. Just like I said earlier, in my own case, it was my own decision because, you know, we have different abilities. We have the way we handle things. If I still want to go back into my career, I can still do that. Now that my kids are grown, they can stay with nannies. I can be rest assured that they'll be taken care of, you know, unlike when they were toddlers. So they can pursue their dreams. Being a mom, having children doesn't stop women from being what they want to be. We have so many career women out there. So many career women, and they are doing great. We have women that are professionals, that are even better than men in their area of specializations. So being a mom shouldn't stop someone from pursuing their careers. No, it shouldn't. It might affect them as in at some point in time, but they can always adjust. They can always adjust as time goes on. And it is not a good advice for women. I am not saying that stay-at-home moms, they are jobless or they don't have future or anything like that. But it's always advisable for we women to be able to lay our hands on something, as in to be able to be capable of doing things of our own, on our own. You understand? Making our own money and taking charge of our own life. It's always advisable. And we have so many women out there that we can look up to, that are role models. So my advice for stay-at-home moms, they can still pursue their careers.
Exceptional mom, shape the future.
Every mom's vision board should be building a better tomorrow, which starts from our home, from how we raise our children, from the kind of knowledge we impact into them, from the kind of training we give them. That is what they will pour out in the society. Because the society that we are today, even those that rules us, if we look at it very well, the charity, like the saying that says charity begins at home. So our vision as mothers is to raise a good, great, well-behaved generation. We should raise our children in the way in which they should go. We should put the fear of God inside of them. We should impact knowledge inside of them so that they will become good citizens. They will be able to be useful for themselves and to their own society. So that should be every mother's vision. We can discover our children's creative ability through what they do. We study them. You know, children, even right from age 2, we can easily detect or see in them what they love doing. And that is what they'll be doing till they grows up. So we can easily discover it through certain things they do. Like my own children, like my son, I've known him to be a very intelligent boy while he was still very small, like age 2. Because as at then, when he was 2 years old, he can easily tell you he's 2 years old. Unlike some kids that doesn't really talk at age 2, he will tell you he's 2 years old. He even knows my mobile number offhand. He can tell you my mobile number offhand. So from there, I know he's an intelligent boy. And he likes to do stuff. He likes to detect things by himself. You know, maybe, like, let's say, for example, I place something here. At times, he will just look at it and ask me, Mommy, what is this? How was this thing made? What is it made of? What's the use? And all that. You know, from there, we will detect their creative ability. Most children nowadays that becomes, most people nowadays that becomes professional, maybe doctors, engineers and all that, I am sure they started all this while they were still very young. Even music stars. If we listen to some interviews of some music stars, you hear them say they started singing while they were very small, maybe from church, maybe from the school choir and all that. So from there, we can be able to detect their creative ability, what they love doing most. And it's always advisable not to direct them, not to put them out of that part. In most cases, you know, parents, they will be like, I want my child to be a doctor. I want my child to be a medical doctor. I want my child to be an engineer. I want him to be this, want him to be that. And meanwhile, the child has something up his head that he wants to be. But we will be telling them this is what we want them to be. So as soon as we discover their creative ability, I think we should, as much as possible, help them, groom them in that way, even if we are not satisfied with it. Because God gives us different kind of brains. So in their own way, we can easily detect their creative ability in so many ways.
Since President Bola Tinubu was sworn in as a Nigerian leader, he promised to fix the economy, address rising insecurity, create jobs, and fight for the interests of citizens both home and abroad. As President Tinubu seeks re-election in 2027, has he delivered on his promises? And does his performance so far merit a second term? AIC News begins a special May 29 review countdown series, where we interrogate the Tinubu administration's deliverables across various sectors of national life. Join us on the AIC News Hour from May 18, 2026.
President Bola Tinubu began the talk of food production during his campaigns for election, pledging to enhance agriculture to guarantee food security. On assumption of office, he initiated series of policies under his Renewed Hope agenda aimed at structural interventions that will modernize Nigeria's food systems. Among initiatives introduced was big focus on rapid mechanization, dry season farming expansion, and direct physical incentives to combat food insecurity. Driven by an improved investment environment and import waivers, Nigeria's agriculture sector recorded a real annual growth rate of 2.92%, pushing total sector turnover to 101.46 trillion naira. This marked a notable expansion compared to the 1.69% growth rate seen previously. The administration also doubled down on its agriculture expansion program, which was a dominant agenda of the president's visit to Brazil in mid-2025. Central to this was the Renewed Hope Agriculture Mechanization Program, where the administration injected large-scale capital assets into local farming networks, notably rolling out 2,000 tractors supplied by Belarus to boost commercialized output. The results? Data from National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) reveals that the agriculture sector attracted over $167 million in capital importation, signaling an erratic but upward trajectory in foreign investor interest. But while there have been measurable macro-level growth, the cost of food, transportation, and agricultural inputs have skyrocketed, deepening the hunger crisis across the country.
Between July and December 2024, you recall that Mr. President said he was going to, he gave us a window of zero tariff for imported items. About four competencies were mentioned, and these happened. But as these things came in, people had low purchasing power.
Back in the villages and communities, rural farmers needed more support, leading to the president's declaration of a state of emergency on food insecurity. But 1 year after the emergency declaration, the reality on ground remained uninspiring. Prices continued to soar, purchasing power collapsed, and inflation hit historic highs. The mounting hardship ultimately drove thousands of citizens to the streets in 2024 for nationwide hunger protests. Acknowledging that Nigerian farming can no longer rely solely on rainfall, the administration launched an ambitious dry season farming initiative targeting 500,000 hectares of land.
Our mission is clear: to boost agricultural productivity, create livelihood opportunities, and drive wealth creation.
In a bid to provide immediate relief, President Tinubu ordered the release of 42,000 metric tons of assorted grains and 60,000 tons of rice from the National Strategic Grain Reserves. These supplies were distributed across the 36 states and the FCT to stabilize markets and support vulnerable households. Then came a controversial regulatory push. On September 11, 2024, the federal government ordered a special Federal Executive Council committee to aggressively crash food prices nationwide. It was a move that drew sharp criticism from agriculture experts.
Prices went very high. We used fiscal policies, liberalizing importation of food to bring down the prices. But it has a consequence, which is what we are battling with now.
To balance farmer income and national productivity, the government expanded its fertilizer support systems and scaled up its climate-smart agriculture initiatives. The focus is shifting towards solar-powered irrigation, all-year-round production, and agro-industrial value addition. While these initiatives are still very much a work in progress, proponents argue that they have stabilized market supplies in recent months, signaling a start of a new green revolution. Yet, for the average Nigerian, expectations remain high for more sustainable interventions that will bring food prices down to a manageable level. Ngozi Onyejiaku, AIT News, Abuja.
It's been 3 years since President Bola Tinubu was sworn in as a Nigerian leader. He promised to fix the economy, address rising insecurity, create jobs, and fight for the interests of citizens both home and abroad.
I'm bringing you Afromax from a space that I'm very familiar with. We are Stadia School of Fashion's annual fashion show, and it is a buzz as the models are getting ready to strut their stuff. The air is electric as last-minute changes are happening in the background, and it is a big day for the students as they're preparing to take on the real world. It is from this organized chaos backstage that we bring you today's show.
Who would have thought that dancing troupes and funerals mix? In Ghana, one man has caused a global sensation and has changed a sad event into a celebration of life. Kenya's well-known interior and production designer David Oyua shows us around Nairobi and the work he creates. we join Nigerian designers Nola Black as they show us their unique approach to fashion.
I am Shudu Padumosida and you are watching Afrimax. Every year, our most prestigious fashion design schools in South Africa showcase their newest talent. From this hub of young creativity, we bring you a young voice and his take on art, blending fine art and illustration.
I've been making art since I was 5 years old. It's been a big part of my life. I don't think I would know who I am without it. So art is me and I am art. It's like medicine for me.
My name's Seth Pimentel, aka African Ginger. I'm a contemporary artist, painter, designer, illustrator, multidisciplinary artist. It's well known for creating almost a Pan-African neo-expressionistic art style, combining painting and street art in one style.
I grew up in a household where my gran was domestically abused, and I witnessed that a lot as a kid because I was around her all the time. So for me, that was a very traumatic experience. And growing up as a guy, understanding that it's a vicious cycle of unchecked mental health leading to a violent approach, that's just the cycle. And I think knowing is half the battle. And I wanted to be completely aware of, you know, what gender-based violence is and what it's really doing and what causes it, you know. She passed away because of that. I buried it, you know? And that's what made me such an angry teenager. And that's what made me so rebellious, like breaking stuff and just angry at the world, you know? And the older I got, the more I realized that I'm feeling upset because of my own mental health plus my own childhood traumas. What made me vocalize or be aware of my traumas and pain was making art. Healing is painful. It's not the easiest thing, and the only way to be better is to sit with those dark thoughts that you don't want to have and process them. And by doing that, you actually become better and better as time progresses. So yeah, the only thing that made me become conscious of that was making art. Was like, why is my work so dark? Let me do a thorough analysis of myself. And then digging deeper and being like, oh, this was the reason this is so dark is because this is what influenced this approach. Okay, cool. Why did that influence this approach? Well, that happened to me when I was 6. Okay, cool, makes sense. I don't necessarily think that artists have to make stuff in a bad headspace in order for it to be good. I think society has just kind of made this narrative of like the depressed, drug addict artist archetype, you know what I mean? And that's not the truth. Anybody can make art from any kind of stimuli. For a long time, I thought that the only way I make good work is if I'm like in that headspace. But nah, as time's progressing, I'm just like, there's so much more there's so much dimension in making work in a better headspace than there is in a depressive one, you know? Making art is about evoking emotion, whether it's hate or love or whatever. If someone feels something towards that, even frustration, you did something, you made art. We're at the Hallmark House Hotel, checking out some work that I did a couple years ago. I was commissioned to do a bunch of portraits, some graffiti, just pretty much design the whole first floor. It's not like one of my personal projects where I can really focus on emotion or focus on darker themes. This was a commission, so I had to focus on the Johannesburg youth culture and what that means to me and paint it in an aesthetic way, as opposed to, you know, being rough with the brush strokes and emotive. So the difference between this and the canvas stuff is all about two different themes. One is aesthetics and the other is emotion. So we're about to head to the Kalashnikov Gallery to check out some of my works and speak to MJ Turpin, the gallery manager. Are you good?
Good. Oh, yeah. Welcome back.
It's good to be back, you know? This one I made specifically for the show.
Exactly, and in my opinion, it's the best one.
Thank you. It's the one I really enjoyed making.
It's the one going to Cape Town.
Is this the one going to Cape Town?
Yeah. Because we're based in Braamfontein, which is effectively one of the creative melting pots of Johannesburg, artists like Seth would naturally gravitate towards Braam because of the scene. He would just come to the shows. We didn't even know who he was. He was just this young punk coming to look at art. And later on, we just became closer and closer. And then, to some degree, there was some mentorship. And one day we thought he was actually, good enough to be in the gallery. And then the rest is effectively history. Now he's one of our outstanding young emerging artists.
A focal point in a lot of the works is eyes. In the past, I was very anti-painting eyes. I think it revealed too much emotion or too much character in each portrait. But I think this time around, I wanted to use eyes as a vehicle to convey how I was feeling. A lot of these are post, heartbreak. It's a conversation about how I and how people around us deal with our feelings and being aware of our feelings and making something about that. These are more extensions on my solo show that I did in February this year called Why So Blue Brown Boy. That collection was quintessentially the birth of this conversation about emotions, vulnerability, masculinity, wanting to speak about societal norms and societal conversations against men and men's mental health, and prove and show that there are ways for men to deal with our emotions in a natural and healthy way, as opposed to substance abuse and violence. We can express ourselves through conversation and vulnerability. So these are extensions of my almost vulnerable self, or the most intimate parts of myself being displayed or exhibited.
I have the rare privilege to be backstage at the annual showcase of Stadio School of Fashion, hosted this year at the Mall of Africa, which I think is quite appropriate. I'm sitting here with Shepard, who's one of the young designers that we'll be chatting to. Shepard, how are the nerves?
I have them, but at the same time, I'm a bit excited to finally being here, and I'm grateful for the journey, and a bit of a disbelief of saying this is me who's finally here after all of these years.
What inspired the collection that we're going to see tonight?
The main drive of the collection was comfort. Through my art or clothing, I sort of tried to lift the spirits, if I was to put it, yeah.
What support did you have in creating this collection?
Family and the institution played a huge role, and also like the skills developed through the years of studying with Stadio played a huge role in me being able to sort of produce this kind of work at this level.
And you have custom in me because you had me at functionality and comfortability.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to hear that from you.
Before I chat to more young designers, let's check out Kenya, where a production and interior designer is changing his environment for the better.
My name is David Oyua. I'm a production and special designer. Welcome to a day in my world. I think my journey has been began like over 10 years ago, mainly inspired by movies and stuff that we watch on TV. Really, my collaboration with Bookbank has been in the how people relate to spaces and how to curate those spaces to be a muse for people, to where they are comfortable. They're comfortable to read, they're comfortable to spend time in, they are comfortable to engage in different activities. I mean, libraries have so much before been used for just reading and studying and doing research. But now in a place like Makadara Eastlands Library, where it's an art gallery, you can come and enjoy art here from different artists who have showcased their art here. You can come and have a picnic here.
We
We are currently in Ikulu, or Ikulu. This is sort of like a veranda. Didn't exist pre-restoration of this building. On the floor that we are standing on exists a map of Nairobi that represents the different libraries within the city. So inspired in this space was the idea to have artists and influential individuals. If you look around me, you'll see different influential musicians and individuals and artists and sportsmen, sportswomen in different fields in their own respect exist in this space. Why is African culture the most sought after trend in design? I mean, we're coming back to the motherland, man. This is like the cradle of mankind. This is where life began. And so I think that we are coming back home, and not only design-wise, but in so many other spheres of life. Inspired my journey. My vision for the future and my career, I want to do so much. I believe I haven't done my best work, really. I think as long as there's breath inside of me, I'm far from even scratching the surface of my best work. And so the future for me is to just more collaborative work. I'd love to collaborate with other artists, love to collaborate with other interior designers and spatial designers. Hollywood, here I come. and really just be involved in, I'd call them functional spaces in terms of be it a library, offices, and just really be sensitive to how people interact with spaces.
Tonight, the lights are shining bright on the young creative talents as final touches are being done before the runway, showcasing the talent here at Stadio School of Fashion. Vimba, you had a clear idea in your mind of what you wanted to showcase here tonight. What is the difficulty of translating that, what was in your head, exactly onto the model?
Sometimes the garments don't sit as well as you want them to be or how you have it in your head. So that is a very depressing moment as a designer, to find out that it's not sitting where you want it or how you want it to sit. I think, yeah.
And I can imagine what that feels like, because as someone who's been a model before, sometimes you guys get frustrated and you just want it to be perfect. So how did it all come together for you?
Because we have dressers, we are helping each other backstage. I think that's how I managed to cope with the whole stress, because once you find out that something is not working, you stress. But then because we are helping each other out, I think it's making it better.
And I have to ask, how are the nerves tonight?
I don't know, to be honest.
Usa.
Yes. Usa.
What was the creative concept behind it, and what was the role of styling in all of it?
So my concept is based around me finding my identity within my culture and embracing my culture as well, because it's something I think is very difficult, not only for women but for everyone growing up. So I tried to incorporate that a lot in my culture. So what I did was I used the Gudri method, which is a quilting method that we used to make blankets back in India way back then. And the loss of my granny impacted me a lot this year, so I tried to incorporate her in everything I did.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And if you know anything about me, you know how much I love bringing back my culture and also just paying homage to the people that came before us. Juanita, I'm so excited to see your collection tonight, and all the very best. The show is about to start. Fashion Voice from Nigeria, as they are turning what Western fashion is all about on its head.
we're a storytelling business. We use fashion to affect the mind, the body, and the soul of the individual and the collective.
In Lagos, more and more young fashion designers are evolving in their designs. Lesser about Western influences and styles, but are more Afrocentric, contemporary, and experimental. The duo of Nola Black, Ariola, and Ifedayo Oluwokoroku are sisters who believe that fashion is storytelling that sets its sights on our global realities and home life as Nigerians.
Globally, when you think about fashion and when you think about designers, it is their aesthetic and is their, their school of thought that matters. So for African fashion, that should also be valid, where it's your design aesthetic is what matters, whether you're edgy like Nola Black or, communicating all of those influences in any other way.
So here is where the production, the real magic happens. We cut our patterns here, we couple our pieces together here. Here is where all the experimentation and prototyping you've been hearing about happens. These are usually the patterns that we are working with currently. Like this, for instance, is the Unraveling Memories dress. This is pattern for this is Epiphany Duo pattern. Until it is done, it essentially cannot leave this room. So literally like a full number of processes go on here. This is Sunday, and he's a sample machinist. He's working on a top right now. It's also from this collection. It's a Hey Stranger collection, and this is one of our t-shirts.
With their collection Hey Stranger, Nola Black introduces rich colors and echoes of the Yoruba culture.
We're super inspired by the Yoruba culture. We're both Yoruba, and of course, like every other thing that we experience as well, as far as just being global citizens in general, or having just this progressive outlook on things and progressive perspective. Every single collection we make, there will be the one single piece or two pieces that you can draw a straight line directly from our heritage or our culture, be it, a, rapper-esque silhouette, or, the Agbada silhouette, like the classic Agbada silhouette. A lot of stoning, a lot of beading. Yorubas, they like to look super flamboyant. I think like some of these colors from this collection, very reminiscent of Yoruba culture.
And I feel like these stories are very relevant because when you piece through each one, you see that it diffuses through what we as young people and even non-young people are experiencing through the times, whether it's Hey Stranger, which is about solitude, and we can all convene on that. Same with The Skin Under, which is about humans and exploring how we're full of layers and showing how and seeing how those layers come through in many different ways. And you have Olokun as well, which is about duality. It's about life and death. It's about black and white. It's about, all of that. So we kind of communicate. I feel like everything about Nola Black is extremely poetic, and we do have a lot of poetic influences as well.
It takes passion and in-depth knowledge of one's culture and surroundings to be able to create pieces that are rare yet relatable and constantly changing.
Because, we source locally, we're in Nigeria. If you know anything about the supply chain of how African countries, most especially Nigeria, get their fabric, we basically get the remnants from when the global markets, the global fashion markets are done with it, and why we can't necessarily even be on trend if you're a Nigerian brand just sourcing from the markets, unless you're making your own fabrics. And so we don't adopt any of these while creating our collection. We go from a story perspective, and everything feeds the story, so to speak.
Nigerian fashion and styles are becoming distinct, especially when they're adapting their rich cultural and traditional elements into the styles. Nola Black are proof that African fashion does not have to follow global fashion trends, but one can always adapt a new way of interpreting designs and fashion.
I'm about to take my place in the audience, and I'd like to wish all the talent the very best and just have fun. Let's take a moment to unpack what seems like an unusual way to say goodbye to a loved one, but it's actually really African.
The Nana Otafrija pallbearers. They bring joy to those who are grieving. Their dancing moves as they carry the coffin have become a global sensation. Their videos have gone viral online.
Anytime we go on the field, conveying the deceased to the church or to the cemetery, the family and well-wishers and sympathizers, they do cry. And I feel bad, I feel sad, I feel upset of why are they crying. So I started to, analyze myself in bringing the dance, initiating the dance to it so that, I'll cheer them up.
That was 15 years ago. One day, Edu realized that a solemn march of pallbearers was making an already sad event even more sorrowful. So he established the Nana Otafrija pallbearing service. With dancing troupes like these growing in popularity, families are increasingly giving their loved ones a final dance.
We have an album also here that the client is able to choose from when he's in our premises. He's going to choose the attire that he or she wants us to wear for the occasion. And I think this week, the client in question has chosen a Scottish wear. The reason why the client chose this attire, this Scottish wear, is because this Scottish wear has never been to his town before. So he chose this to, be a talk of the town, because it's going to be a talk of the town, and at the same time, he's going to boast with it.
Since becoming a global sensation, Benjamin Edu barely has time to sleep. He spends much of his time on the phone with clients, checking his upcoming bookings. Ghanaian funerals are very important social occasions, and no expense is spared. Edu's pallbearing service has also provided crucial employment opportunities for young people.
This fame has brought me more guys to be employed. I'm recruiting more people, because unemployment is very high where I am. And now I have over 100 guys working with. 95 are male, 5 are female.
But you hopefully won't be dancing with this guy anytime soon.
Stay safe. Otherwise, we are there, we are going to dance with you.
This has been such a wonderful evening, but it is far from over. Thank you so much for watching, and for more, check us out on dw.com/Afrimax. Till next time, be kind to one another.
all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. He is calling himself God. Many good works have I shown you from my Father. For which of these works do you stone me?
For a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy. And because you, being a man, make yourself God. Must get out of here. Quickly.
In the word for all the world.
Hurry, Mom! I'm gonna miss the bus. You're president of the Girls' Service Club this year, honey. They won't leave without you.
But I need extra time. You know that little girl Maddie I take care of? Yesterday, she said she didn't even want to go to Wonder World Park because she's afraid all the rides will be too scary. I know if I have enough time, I can convince her to come and she'll have fun with me. That doesn't sound good.
Oh, it must be the battery again. You better call Chris. See if the Quantums can give you a ride.
What's up? Chris? Thank goodness. I need a ride to school.
On a Saturday?
The Girls' Service Club is taking the kids who live at Angel's Rescue on a trip to Wonder World Park for
151,000 halfway to the record, Chris.
And my mom's car broke down. So can you guys give me a ride?
But Joy, I'm halfway to the world record for pogo bounces.
Chris, please.
Chris, you can't stop now. Oh, the record was almost yours. Sorry, Giz. With all that jumping up and down, my stomach is doing flip-flops.
Just hurry, please.
No problem. I feel better already. Mach rocket mode 3000, Giz.
What is taking them so long?
Rhythmo, Sky Taxi to the rescue.
Thanks, guys.
Giz, Mach rocket mode 4000.
Let's go. No problem.
Than the MD2 varieties offered from Costa Rica.
African traditional medicine sector seeks its place as the threat of the COVID-19 pandemic still looms over the continent.
But I also go to the pharmacy to get some products, but I use natural plants because my parents got me used to them from birth.
Architects, urban planners or technicians, they are the future of Rwanda. Talents ready to take over for the modernization of the country.
It is going to produce the students the employees who are capable, who have the knowledge to go and contribute to the development of the country.
In West Africa, Togo has long been striving to promote agricultural development. The country is betting on the expansion of pineapple production, a sector which grew by more than 11% between 2017 and 2019, and which today employs more than 3,200 producers. The organic pineapple niche, particularly prized by European importers, is booming. In our story today, we'll focus on the rise of this cutting-edge horticultural sector. Togo, a pineapple story, through the lens of our reporters Parfait Assogba and Fernand Tona.
Spanish and Portuguese navigators brought the first pineapples back from South America in the 1540s. It's an exotic fruit now widely consumed around the world, with an exploding demand. According to the FAO, world pineapple production should jump from 25 million tons in 2021 to 37 million by 2030. A booming market that one might think is reserved for global pineapple giants, such as Costa Rica or Nigeria, Africa's leading producer, with 1.6 million tons. It was to join this big league that Togo decided in 2018 to make a name for itself by focusing on its major asset, the organic pineapple niche. And the project is already a real success with small producers, with around 16,000 tons of organic pineapples collected each year.
Previously, we had great financial difficulties, but now I can help my husband. From the education of our children to the expenses of our household, without forgetting the costs of health and other expenses that I have managed to share with my husband. We managed to save some money, and we were able to buy a plot of land on which we have already started to build thanks to the production of pineapples.
The promotion of pineapple cultivation was first launched in Togo in the 1970s, but then experienced a decline 20 years later. In 2013, the sector was relaunched thanks to German financial assistance. In the maritime region of Sevier, 35 kilometers north of the capital Lomé, pineapple fields extend over hundreds of hectares. Mrs. Ayawa Dola has benefited from good agricultural practice training provided by the Support Project for the improvement of the competitiveness of the pineapple sector in Togo, also known as PROCAT. She is very proud of her organic pineapples.
Our pineapple is produced without chemical fertilizers. We do not use NPK. We plow the land, and it is with the dead grass and excrement as chemical fertilizers that we grow pineapples.
Initiated by the Togolese government with the technical and financial support of the European Union and German cooperation, the project is implemented by GIZ and aims to strengthen the entire pineapple sector, from production to export through processing for the 2018 to 2022 period. A budget of nearly 4 billion FCFA or 6 million euros, with ambitious objectives assigned to the project, such as the production of 3,900 tons of organic pineapple juice, 260 tons of dried pineapple, and the export of 2,800 tons of fresh pineapples, as well as the creation of more than 4,700 jobs. It all started with the implementation of a vast additional training program, as at the Daniel Field School in the west of the country. As for producers, the effects are already visible.
It was through the project that everything changed. And now, with the training, the FBS training, management and accounting, training in good agricultural practices, in internal control systems, we're now equipped to be modern producers compared to the traditional producers that we were in the past.
Production then had to be organized so farmers had a guarantee for the sale of their organic pineapples, and processors a guarantee of having the necessary raw materials.
We found that producers were having difficulties selling their products, while at the same time, right next door, there were processors looking for products, and who can't find any. We felt it was important to organize all these producers into an umbrella organization called FENACOPA, a central purchasing body that brings together all these producers so that when they produce their pineapples, they collect them and sell it to processors.
In Assahoun, 50 kilometers from the capital, is one of the companies specialized in the export of organic pineapples. Here the fruits are sorted, cleaned, graded, weighed and labelled before export. The sector is organised with 6 platforms that manage the purchasing centres. Their motto, stay united in the face of this tough market where local competition is fierce.
Instead of letting the producers go in scattered rows, the Federation has taken it upon itself to do the organic certification of its producers. Thus, it is a real asset for them to go on the international market, especially since we have also done the training on traceability. From planting to consumption, we know step by step the circuit of the fruit.
Undoubtedly, Togo benefited from 2 major assets even before the launch of the project. 50% of its production was already organic, and the varieties grown in the country are highly appreciated by European consumers.
We're lucky in Togo to have varieties such as Sugarloaf and Cayenne, which are quite well known and which have a better taste than the MD2 varieties offered from Costa Rica.
Additionally, Procat contributed to strengthen the resilience of the sector in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also to increase production in this context. The tonnage of pineapples processed in certified units has increased from 2,100 tons in 2018 to more than 6,700 in 2021, thanks to the training of producers and the provision of modern equipment and secure means of transporting pineapples to factories. But for professionals, the encouraging results do not lessen the challenges that remain.
The importance of the plant sectors, including the pineapple sector, is that we need to ensure food security and also develop production to cover national needs and also supply agro-industry to substitute imports with regard to internal consumption and also develop exports.
That's the price for Togo to win its bet and find a place in the expanding organic pineapple market. With major financial benefits for the state budget, the creation of new businesses and thousands of jobs for young people and women in the country.
Prices of aviation fuel, consequences of the international situation, are a source of growing concern in Nigeria. 23 national airlines have been reluctant to suspend operations, and they will hold negotiations with the government. They are indeed unable to absorb costs which have tripled in the past 4 months, as the price of a litre of aviation fuel has propelled to 700 naira or $1.68 per litre. The impact of the war between Russia and Ukraine has had negative consequences on the foreign exchange market. The Nairobi Stock Exchange, which has seen strong participation from foreign investors in recent years, is concerned about the depletion of the US dollar in the country. The situation, which makes imports and external debt service more expensive, could discourage international participants in the Nairobi financial market. In South Africa, positive COVID-19 tests again mark a clear progression, and experts are wondering if the country might not be on the verge of entering a 5th wave of infections. In Benin, where a large part of the population has chosen to treat themselves with plants, voices were raised demanding that the ancestral know-how of traditional medicine of the continent should not be neglected when it comes to research on medicinal products with international standards, including against COVID-19. This is a report by Didier Asogba. According to statistics, 70% of Beninese treat themselves with plants, herbal tea. This is the case of Marshall Hunwanu, a building electrician who, to treat a supposed undiagnosed malaria disease, preferred to go to Mama Weta, a seller of medicinal plants in Gorome, a city on the outskirts of Cotonou. I learned how to compose and sell herbal remedies with my aunt for 9 years. Every day I receive more than 150 clients.
I came to buy some plants to treat malaria and cough. I'm used to plants. This doesn't exclude the fact that I also go to the pharmacy to get some products, but I use natural plants because my parents got me used to them from birth. It is part of our daily life.
For many observers, Africa has the resources to offer an effective product in the treatment of COVID-19. This is due, for example, to the diversity of its natural environments, which range from deserts and steppes to highland meadows and bushes, including mangroves.
Speaking of COVID-19, people feel that it is not possible to find herbal remedies on the African continent. Yet it is the only continent that still has its 9 biomes. We still have a biodiversity in which it is possible to find plants capable of coping with a large number of diseases.
For the treatment of the coronavirus, the sellers of medicinal plants have offered their customers many solutions as a preventive measure. Against COVID-19, solutions exist here. Certainly, research to find the right combination is still ongoing. Among this research, there's the work of Dr. Raphael Chidime. This Beninese traditional therapist and phytotherapist is convinced that he has found the right formula to fight COVID-19 by treating a friend with the disease who is a student in Europe.
And the products that I put in the honey, I prepared on a fire at 100 degrees. I extracted the syrup from the ingredients that I mixed with the alcohol from the plants in my container. I made a 25-litre can of honey with my plant.
The solution to the COVID-19 pandemic could lie somewhere between the two medicines, conventional and traditional. One thing is certain, for herbalists and botanists on the continent, traditional African medicine, the oldest in the world, should not be overlooked.
La promotion de la médecine traditionnelle.
The promotion of traditional medicine must therefore be accompanied by efforts at the level of conventional medicine, where we should take what is positive in each of these two medicines so that they can become complementary. And this calls for the notion of research and the notion of the validation of therapeutic formulas at the level of traditional medicine. Practitioners who are great holders of this knowledge and of this medicine, and who are closer to the populations.
A hope that had taken a big leap forward in September 2020, when a panel of experts appointed by the WHO, the World Health Organization, had approved a protocol for phase 3 clinical trials of herbal medicine for COVID-19. This is the first step to assess the quality, safety, and efficacy of traditional medicine products according to international standards. Welcome back to the second part of our show. Africans are looking for alternatives to wheat, which has become 40% more expensive due to the ongoing war in Europe. In Kenya, Egypt, but also in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria and Cameroon, producers are turning to local rice, cassava and sorghum to enhance bread and pastries. In Kinshasa, the government has approved the use of cassava for bread, and producers of potatoes, highly in demand by the agri-food industry in Cameroon, are increasing their production. Will Zimbabwe go back to the US dollar? The country, which had switched to the American dollar in 2009 before reintroducing its national currency in 2019, is seriously considering it. In any case, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has just imposed capital controls to stem the rapid deterioration of the country's currency, the Zimbabwean dollar, which has lost half of its value this year. We end our tour of the continent in Rwanda, a country often praised for its economic success. Education is a high priority for the government, which wants to see the talents of tomorrow emerge. How are these promising and studious youth educated? This is what Lorraine Raimondi discovered in Kigali.
In Rwanda last year, the Institute of Science and Technology of Rwanda, formerly the Kigali Institute of Science and Technology, granted diplomas to a special class. 18 out of 190 female scholarship students in a skills development project in science and technology received their diplomas. Like Solange and Jennifer, who received scholarships to complete their master. Supported by AFDB, the African Development Bank, the Institute promotes women's access to the scientific and technical programs.
It is so important because if you can compare about the percentage of population in Rwanda, many are women. But if you go to higher learning institutions, colleges, there are few girls who join the higher learning institutions.
Her parents, of whom she is the pride and joy, own a hardware store on the outskirts of the capital. Aware of her luck, the young woman wants to participate in the construction of Rwanda.
The first motivation, I'd like to become among the great lady, a great woman.
For his part, Kenneth is working on the use of recycled materials in architecture. He's presenting his project to his teachers. His ambition is to speed up the construction of buildings in his country, which is struggling to find the necessary materials.
I see it as a challenge, like if we are a developing country and we have little economy to afford these materials which can be used for fancy buildings, how in other way can an architect explore local and available materials and using little technology but offer the space which is having quality and functional and sustainable for the community.
Architects, urban planners and technicians represent the future reconstruction of Rwanda. The government encourages the courses to continue the modernization of the country. A grant of $9 million from the AFDB has funded educational material, facilities and classes.
It is going to produce the students the employees who are capable, who have the knowledge to go and contribute to the development of the country.
There's another area of expertise that's being developed within the framework of the strategic plan of the country: information and communication technology. In downtown Kigali, the Carnegie Mellon University, or CMU, is home to one of 5 African centers of excellence in the ICT field. On the top floor, this business startup, called the Key Lab, aims to strengthen ties between the university courses and industry. Meanwhile, a future campus is under construction and will be completed in 2016, with funding of nearly $15 million from the AFDB.
So the partnership of ADB is very key into this program, because as you know, yes, we can have great brands, we can have everything, but also we need the infrastructures to support the university.
Thanks to a grant awarded under the program, Rafiki is one of the first group of students to attend the Masters in Information and Communication Technology course, which began in 2012. He runs a company and has been able to profit from his studies.
After taking courses at CMU, we have changed the business model. Now we develop solutions and we go present them to our clients.
According to Rafiki, it will soon no longer be necessary to turn to India, Europe or the United States to develop digital solutions.
So we'll be boosting the ICT sector in this region, and economically we can be hub of ICT, not only in Africa, maybe also in the world.
With its regional focus, the program welcomes students from East Africa, such as Lynn from Uganda. She would like the scholarships made available to other countries.